Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. We have to break it down with an IBFP, news edition. And, I got to get into it. It's so much happening in the boxing world that, it's having a hard time keeping up with what's going on, all the fights and all the news and all the changes. So we're just going to start breaking things down one by one by one. So the first thing we're going to get into is Abel Sanchez splitting from Triple G. Abel Sanchez had made a few remarks about why they're splitting, what's happening, and one of the things is that he felt like he was disrespected with the offer financially from Gennady Golovkin. He said he received 1/5 of what he was being paid for, and that's according to Mike Coopinger with the Ring as well. He was basically said that Gennady Golovkin gave him, an insulting new offer. And so my thoughts on this is, if and we understand that Gennady Golovkin signed a very lucrative deal. We understand that Gennady Golovkin, has a lot of money coming in, but at the end of the day, I think this change is very good change for both of these guys. And it's not even about money for me. I think that Gennady Golovkin needed a new voice, needed a new ear. He's entering the last and final years in his career, and there's a chance that he could be facing Canelo Alvarez again for the third time, and he's going to have to do something different that he didn't do the first two fights. Period. He's just going to have to do something different to get that win if that's what he wants. And so if he truly wants to get that win, then he's going to need another trainer regardless. He's going to need someone to help him and make sure his body doesn't wear down. And Abel Sanchez, the Mexican style, to come forward fighting may be too much to put on a 36, 37-year-old Golovkin at this point. He's going to need something else. And I'm not saying that he's going to be a different fighter or anything like that. I'm saying he's going to need a minor tweak or an adjustment here and there that could help him overcome some of those hurdles, that could help him get to the point where he really wants to be. And maybe a different voice, maybe a new, a new way of doing things would help Gennady Golovkin. But let's just keep going. Marcos El Chino Maidana says he's no longer coming back to boxing. Marcos Maidana was unable to keep up with the vigorous training and work. And so I can understand why Marcos Maidana at this point in his life, after being inactive for all this time, after having made all that money and trying to come down and lose all that weight is a very difficult and challenging thing. Marcos Maidana even stated that, he doesn't feel like he's not capable. It's just a lot of work. And, if he's not dedicated to putting the work, if he doesn't love boxing, it's best he just does not come back. Canelo Alvarez has made recent statements that, nothing in his contract binds him to a Golovkin trilogy. And I think that's an interesting statement because at the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez and Triple G, they had two great fights. I'm sure the world would like to see a third. Some people don't want to see a third. I think, good or bad, I think a Canelo Golovkin fight will be entertaining, regardless of how people feel about, stylistically the matchup. But I will say this, Canelo Alvarez, if he fights, Demetrius Andre instead of Triple G, I think that's just an exciting of a matchup. So at the end of the day, I think that these are great matchups to be had. And, Golovkin can fight a Danny Jacobs rematch. He can fight a Demetrius Andre. He can move up in weight. So there's great fights to be made all around the middleweight division, and they don't necessarily have to be just Canelo Triple G. But let's keep going. According to Michael Benson, Joe Joyce has signed a co-promotional deal with Frank Warren and Ringstar, which will see him fight on BT Sport in the UK. So what does that mean for us? Joe Joyce will, basically has agreed to terms to fight Daniel Dubois, but he'll first return on the undercard of, Billy Joe Saunders' next fight on May 18th. So that'll be fantastic. So I can't wait for Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois to get it on. This is going to be two young bucks coming head to head. And so these are the type of fights that really is going to propel one of these guys to be a star, and it's going to kind of have the other guy trying to figure out where he belongs at this point. But this is a great fast moving start for both of these guys. I cannot wait to see this fight. I cannot wait to see who wins. This is going to be a hell of a heavyweight duel. So that's going to be a fantastic fight. Another thing that's coming out from Mike Coopinger in the Ring is that is Big Baby Terrell Miller ever going to get punished for this? This is basically, let's just break it down. Terrell Miller allowed his New York State Athletic Commission license to run out following his failed drug test. Since he did that, this means the commission basically is unable to take disciplinary action against him, and he isn't licensed with him. So the most they can do is not relicense him. So it's going to be up to each individual state whether they're going to, grant him a license or not. So he's not going to be suspended or banned. And there's no ban that can be opposed at this point, other than whether they choose to license him or not, because he's not licensed by any of these commissions, therefore he can't be punished. And so that's going to be very, very interesting. He could have been punished had his license been active. But, that's very interesting. And the last bit of news that we have here is Virgil Ortiz. He's going to be the co-main event for Saul Canelo Alvarez. And so these are the type of things that are going to make these guys superstars. Virgil Ortiz is a very interesting up-and-coming prospect, has knockout power, has boxing skills, started using angles in his fight. So this is going to be a fantastic card for Danny Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez, and Virgil Ortiz added as the co-main event. It's going to be a fantastic thing. But once again, Unbiased as always is the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.